Stick around, it's going to be a good one. We're going to talk about how to break free from the life that you're living and enter the life that you want to be experiencing. This isn't for everyone. If it's not for you, scroll on. But if you're not where you want to be in love, health, wealth, success, freedom, this is going to be a game changer if you apply this stuff. You ready? Are you ready? Are you actually ready? We're going in. All right. Life is like a movie. It's like a film. And you can be the lead role, the hero of your film, of your movie. But the problem is, only a small percent of people know this and experience this. And what happens is, instead of being the CEO, the boss, the lead, the hero, the producer, the writer, the wardrobe, the hair and makeup, and writing the script of your life, we slip and we become parts of other people's movies, other people's films. Right now, I'm an extra in your film. Yeah, someone says a horror film. It can be. Mine was a horror film at one point, and yours might be now. I hope it isn't. But we can slip, and we can be in multiple people's movies at once. And I'll tell you what this looks like. I was working in a pub, working in bars for years and years and years, pulling pints for like £8 an hour, and I was getting people drunk, and I was really good at it. I got it down to a T. I was very sociable, and I loved it. I loved getting people drunk. It was great. And I heard this quote that said, if you don't build your dream, someone will hire you to help them build theirs. And it hit me hard, because I realized I was in someone else's film. I was helping them build their business, and they just kept on giving me a little bit more money every time I started thinking, oh, okay, hang on, maybe I don't want to be doing this anymore. Maybe I could be, oh yeah, thanks. I realized, hang on a second, I'm living in someone else's film. I'm living in someone else's movie. This is not the life I wanted. What is the life I want? I don't know. I don't really know who I am. I don't know what my identity is. I don't know where I'm going. It's just blurry. So I started to do an audit. I started to look in on myself, in who I wanted to be, what I wanted to be known for, what this was. And I started to think and believe and started to imagine all of these things. I wanted to create my own business. I didn't really know what it was yet. I wanted to have a music career. I wanted to do this and do this and do this. And so I started getting excited. And when I started going back to work at the pub, I was working, but I had this big smile on my face because I knew I was getting out of there. I knew I was going on to bigger things. But then the resistance comes up. The fiery pit of hell. And this is why the 95% never make it. This is why the 95% stay small. This is why the 95% never experience what they were destined to experience, because as soon as they start turning in on themselves, the resistance comes up. And what is the resistance? It's fear, it's doubt, it's worry, it's imposter syndrome, it's what their friends might say, or their family. Who do you think you are? You're not gonna... All of this bullshit, all of this noise, all of this programming that we so easily subscribe to. And we go, oh, okay, if that's what they think I am, I guess that's what I am. So when the resistance comes up, if you break through the resistance, if you go through it, instead of constantly going around it and dodging it and suppressing it and not thinking about it, if you just go through it, what you'll find is a whole bunch of new questions. You know who you don't want to be, you know what you don't want anymore, and you know also that your subconscious mind, its one job is to keep you safe and alive. This is why you do the same stuff every day. This is why you drink out the same mug, because it's familiar. It's safe. You go the same route to work, you do the same walks, you see the same people, you kind of talk about the same kinds of things, you eat the same stuff, you go to the same shows, you read the same stuff, you go on the same websites. If you pan out, you do so many things that are just on repeat, because that's the world you've created for yourself, and that's okay. That's okay. But if you want more, if you want the unknown, if you want the unfamiliar, if you want something bigger for yourself, if you want to honor your dreams, your desires, you have to let go of this old story, this old identity, and just lean in, dive in, and go for it. But unless you know where you're going, you're just going to be in no man's land. This is when the next set of questions come up. The next set of questions are, what's got to change? What's got to go? What habits have got to go? You know what I'm talking about. Why are you playing small? Why are you not putting yourself out there? Why are you watching me and I'm not watching you? Thank you for liking the live, by the way. If you love this stuff, share this live. It will mean the world to me. It blasts it out into the internet. And if anybody hears this and it makes sense, you've done a really great thing just by hitting a button. So I did this self-audit and I figured out what I didn't want, and I figured out what I did want, and I figured out what was holding me back. And I went, oh my God, I know who I am. I know what I want. Let's go. So check this out. I had this old story come up which I completely forgotten about. And I'm at school, I'm 6 years old, I enter this competition and it's to draw an animal. And I drew this animal, I was really proud of it. It was a panda and I did it really well. I handed it in and my friend who was doing the competition read out in front of everybody, and the winner is Alexander Epstone. And I felt elated because I was really dyslexic, I was dyspraxic, I was in the bottom of the sets, I wasn't very clever, I couldn't read and write very well. And it was the first time I remember feeling equal to my classmates. I was like, oh, I've got a gift, it's drawing. Okay, great. And then in the same sentence he said, but Ali's disqualified because he traced this drawing. And everyone, and that got stuck in me. And in a moment from being elation to confusion, it was imprinted in me and I didn't even realize. And I hadn't traced the drawing, I was just really good at drawing. And I didn't think about it, it's just a little story, whatever. 35 years later, when I'm doing a self-audit, this comes up and I realized I had the feeling of sadness and anger around this story. And so when I cleared this anger and this sadness within me, I suddenly had this massive urge to put myself out there. And I realized in that moment I had been playing small and not putting myself out there because of a past memory that was saying to myself, if you put yourself out there, you will be exposed for being a fraud, imposter syndrome. So I was constantly staying small. And this is why a self-audit is so important, because you have programs running from childhood, from your teenage years, from what you've downloaded from society, your parents, your teachers, your friends, maybe a really good friend that doesn't want you to succeed because they want to succeed, and if you start succeeding, the attention's on you. It's all in there. And unless you're aware of it, unless you're familiar with what's going on up here, you will not be living the life that you want to be living, not stretching yourself, you won't be putting yourself out there, and you'll be living in fear and you'll be playing it safe. So if this resonates with you and you're realizing right now that it's time for a new life, it's time for a new level, it's time for a new experience. And this isn't for everyone. Some people are happy going to the same job, doing the same stuff, and they're happy. And look, we need those people as well. We absolutely need those people. I'm not talking to that person right now. I love those people, but I'm not talking to that person. I'm talking to the people that want more for themselves, that want to break new ground, that want to break out of this mold, that want to stop doing this yo-yo life where they're going up and then coming back. Why are you coming back? Because you haven't painted the picture of where you want to go, and you haven't unlocked and dealt with the stuff that keeps on replaying, that's keeping you safe and small. If this resonates, share this live. It blasts it out. I'll love you forever. And it's a really good thing that you can do as well. No effort at all, just. And if this also resonates, check my bio and check on the big discovery. I'll tell you about it in a second. It's absolutely amazing. So look, I did an audit and I remembered who I truly was. And who I truly was wasn't just a bar guy getting people drunk. It was someone who was guiding people, teaching people, helping people check in with themselves and connect to their love and their light and what they wanted out of life. It was to be a musician and release records and to write books. And since unlocking all this stuff, I'm living my dream life. I've traveled Costa Rica and Thailand and lived in Cape Town and Australia with my wife and taught people all over the world. And helped people all over the world and created music and a book. And, you know, I've just started essentially. I mean, I haven't, I've been doing it for a few years, but, you know, I feel like I'm just getting going. And there's just confidence and happiness and clarity and peace and ultimately relief. And so when I go to sleep at night, I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful for honoring myself. And I'm grateful for all of the amazing clients that I have and all of their progress. I dream and think about where I'm going. So I'm balancing these two worlds, the right here, right now, and a future that I desire. And then when I wake up in the morning, same thing. I'm excited to start the day, but my life wasn't like that. I was an alcoholic, I was depressed, I was anxious, I had dyslexia, I couldn't read or write very well. I couldn't leave the house without being drunk. I was living in hell. And I overcame all of that, dissolved all of that by doing what I teach now. Someone said, would it be terribly rude if I stopped listening to you and went to chat with someone else? No, I encourage it. I mean, I know you're only having a laugh, but if these words don't resonate, this is kind of part of what I'm saying. You're not living your movie. You're not being the hero in your film. You're wasting time. You're wasting your life. Stop wasting your life with anyone, anything that doesn't resonate with you, doesn't uplift you, isn't on your path. My good God, why would anybody spend their time in low vibes, doing something you don't want to be doing? You know, sometimes we have to do things we don't want to do, but ultimately create the future that you want and dive in. So I did this audit, I got clear, I got excited, I left my job, I created my new job. I went all in and I started serving and helping people and watching them grow. And then I started feeling peace and confidence and clarity and deeper love and respect for myself. All I can tell you is it's so much harder to live a life you do not want over and over and over again than to dive into a life that you do want and struggle constantly over and over again. I cannot tell you how much better it is to struggle and be on the right path than to live in a world that you didn't even dream up. So I broke through, I broke free, I broke out of my old world, I created my new world, and life got easier, the dramas disappeared, my health got better, my wealth got better. I had to deprogram from this lack money mindset and this lack of health mindset where I was just destroying myself with drugs and alcohol, and into honoring myself and loving myself and loving my love, my health, my wealth, my success, and my freedom. And so it might be time for you also to bet on you, to invest into your future self, to go all in and be the hero of your film, to be the lead in your film. If you're in your experience of life and you don't feel like you're running the show and it's going your way, you're in someone else's movie. But don't worry, the 95% of the world is in someone else's movie just like I was for years. Until suddenly I went, oh no, I'm not the lead in my own film. Holy shit. So this is where you've got to do the self-audit. This is where you've got to pause life, remove yourself for a minute and go, what happened? Okay, that happened. It was what it was. It is what it is. It will be what it will be. I'm in charge of making it be what it will be. And it starts now. I created something for you. I gave myself one criteria to have you leave this training and be so happy to feel like I over-delivered and you got way more than you put into it, and just for you to be over the moon with what you get out of it. And so I put in everything that I did myself, and I've created this training. It's 7 days on Telegram. You don't even need to be there when it starts. You do it on your own time. I've made it literally as easy as possible, because I like things easy. The only thing stopping you from being where you want to be and having the experience of life is these limiting beliefs, these blocks, these fears, these doubts, these worries, all of this stuff that we just go, not today, not today, nope, nope. But how long are you going to do that for? Time seems to be getting quicker, and you're never going to be as young as you are right now. What the fuck? What are you doing? What are you doing if you're not at least on the path that you desire? And again, I was not on that path, so I'm not coming from some high horse perspective. I was a late bloomer as well. I didn't really even start sorting my life out until I was 32. And even then it took me till I was 35 to really kind of get clear. So look, I'm not giving anyone crap. I made something for you. And it's amazing. And I don't mind saying that because it changed my life. I overcame dyslexia, anxiety, panic attacks, depression, imposter syndrome, addiction, alcoholism. I overcame all of those. Can you hear what? This isn't a common thing that people... I overcame all of those things by unsubscribing to them. As soon as you say, I have anxiety, or I have this, or this is the way I am, you create it. And if you decide what you don't want, and you decide what you do want, and you unsubscribe from all this, and I'll show you how, and you subscribe to all this, and I'll show you how, then what you're essentially doing is you're giving your being a clear direction of what you do want. And yes, it's not overnight, but you start to notice you make different choices and your habits change and you have stronger boundaries and maybe you feel a bit more discipline and confidence. And life starts to change. You clean up your internal world, your external world changes accordingly. And if you're not on that trip, then yeah, you might not get it. If you understand that you create your reality, and if you take 100% responsibility for everything that you're experiencing, maybe you're not to fault and maybe you're not to blame, but you're responsible for your actions and your choices. When I was working at the pub for £8 an hour, we came up at the same time and they started offering him more money. And I remember having a beer with him one night and I said, dude, they're gonna keep giving you money to keep you here. I'm getting out. I know you want to be a film producer. And I know you're really good at it. You've got to get out because they're going to keep you in this place just by giving you loads of money. And he was like, yeah. I saw him 4 years later, big beer belly, the light in his eyes had gone out, the film producing dream just way gone, all for that. But the happiness, and you know, fuck that. Fuck that. So if you want what you truly want and you believe it's attainable and you're willing to dive in and see what's what, this training will be unbelievably amazing for you. I've got these amazing little PDFs and you can do it on your own time. I'll be giving you little audio voice notes like this and encouraging you and going... You'll figure out who you are in love, health, wealth, success and freedom and what's been stopping you and what's been blocking you from going... whoosh. And you'll look at your relationships with yourself, those people around you, your self-worth and what's stopping you from breaking through to the next level. And maybe you've not even set the next level and that's what's stopping you. So we'll do a Q&A and it's just going to be an amazing experience. It might be the thing that you need to break through and break free. So let me have a look at some questions real quick. Good for you, I'm on the same path of breaking out of 3D. Now, let's just dive into that a second. Absolutely amazing first and foremost, but we don't want to break out of 3D and then we're in the 4D and 5D and we've made it. really, we want to balance the two worlds. And the two worlds are this: the matrix that we live in, the 3D life where everything works and functions and everyone's going along with the day. We want to know who we are, what our mission is, and we want to create that in the 3D. But we also need to be able to tap into imagination and manifestation, the fourth, fifth dimension, and utilize our spiritual tools, maybe our trust in God, Allah, Buddha, nature, universe, mathematics, geometry, whatever you're into. And it's about balancing the two worlds. So you dive in to get what you need, your knowledge, your wisdom, and then you create in the 3D. And a lot of people on this path get lost, and they dive too far into the spiritual stuff, and they lose touch with friends and family in the 3D world, and they find it hard to talk to people and communicate and make things happen. That's a massive thing that people end up doing. I see it a lot. And then the other side is people are stuck in the 3D and they go, that's a load of bullshit, all of that spiritual stuff, aligning and all of that stuff, and they block it all, which will ultimately help them. So what I do, and what I love to do most of all, is help people balance the two worlds, to utilize both, experience the life that you were meant to experience. So in other words, think positive. I hope you realize there are more nuances than that. OJ the Viking. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. Ultimately, think positive is probably like 0.5% of what I'm talking about. It's kind of the opposite of that. It's diving into your shadow self, your unconscious self, and looking what's running and honoring that because it's part of you. And in fact, it's literally the opposite of that. Most people are just talking about positive thinking and diving into all of that stuff. You will always come back. You'll only go so far. It's the yin and the yang of life. It's honoring the dark and the light. And if you dive into the darkness to come back to the light, you find balance. So no, not what you said. All right, no worries, all good. We're on the same page, brother. I'm living the life I don't like due to the times I live in. Cully, this is a terrible mindset. I am living the life I don't like due to the times I live in. This is the greatest time on earth. There's never been a time in this life where you could potentially reach millions and millions of people just by tuning in and being consistent. The world is shining a light on all of the darkness so we can change and evolve, and those people can be exposed. We're in amazing times. Yes, there is all sorts of shit going on. Yes, a lot of things are, it's a lot. I get you. But there's been no better time to live a life. And if you've got a phone, if you've got a roof, if you've got water, you are crushing it. Think about people in the dark ages, or if you're in a war-torn country. You've got to wake up each day and go, wow, bombs aren't going off outside my window. Oh my God, I've got a roof. Oh my God, I've got clothes and some water. Holy shit, I've made it. If you have a phone and the internet and the basics, you are crushing it. Yes, there's stuff going on, but there's been no better time in history to imagine what you want and create it. It's just about having the knowledge and the courage and the discipline and the drive and maybe a bit of accountability. Maybe you need to hire a coach or a mentor or just watch stuff like this and go all in. Cherish the little things in life, 100%. Yes, amazing times. We have to focus on the seeds being planted. Donna gets it. Donna gets it. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for liking this. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you for honoring yourself today. Thank you for smiling today. Thank you for loving yourself today. Thank you for finding a moment of gratitude today. Thank you for appreciating something in your life today. Thank you for remembering that you are a powerful spiritual being incarnated in this life, going through the motions, finding out who you are, what you're meant to be doing in this life, and doing it. Thank you for being positive and encouraging. Look at this. I'm giving a bit of this. You're giving it back. We're literally playing gratitude tennis right now. This is how it works. I want to thank you. You've been absolutely amazing. And check out the big discovery in my bio. It's so simple, it's so enjoyable, it's so profound, super affordable. If you do it, it will absolutely change your life. I'm excited for you, and let me know if you do it so I can encourage you all the way. Just dive in. It's a system I've created so you can audit yourself and free yourself from a world that you don't want to be living in, so you can create the world that you do want to be living in. And it's totally possible. I couldn't read or write at school. I was in the special needs classes. I went down a year when I was 6 and I was still in the bottom of the sets. I used all of this stuff to rewire my brain. I deprogrammed from being dyslexic, because my whole life I was saying, I'm dyslexic, I can't read. I don't read books because I'm dyslexic, but I'll listen to them. I said stuff like this all the time. And then I learned what I teach now, and I was like, hang on a second, I'm constantly saying what I don't want. I'm an alcoholic, so, I can't do this, I can't do that. I figured out what I didn't want, and it looked like this: dyslexia, alcoholism, addiction, depression, anxiety, panic attacks, imposter syndrome, lack of self-worth, lack of self-love. And I unsubscribed from every single one of them. And it wasn't overnight. There's a lot of trial and error. But look, trying to unsubscribe from being an alcoholic and a dyslexic isn't necessarily a simple thing. But over time, I started to notice that my vocabulary got better. I was more articulate. I would talk to academics and feel equal. I was like, holy shit, what's happening? I was rewiring myself. I started to notice that I was turning down parties and going out because I didn't want to abuse myself anymore. I started noticing that I was putting myself out there, when the thought of being on the internet, oh my God, what would happen if someone said something, or I didn't know what to say and I paused, that'd be the worst thing ever. Just didn't give a shit. And let me tell you, when you go through this process, when you start deprogramming from the life, the person that you do not want to be, and the life that you don't want to have, and you start reprogramming yourself for who you want to be and the life that you do want, then opportunities start coming up. And they're always there, but you always just didn't look at them, or you turn them down, and you start taking them, and you start building up your confidence. And ultimately what I'm saying is, you get to a place of liberation. You get to a place of peace and relief and joy and equanimity, balance and stillness. And ultimately you feel safe and equanimous in the moment. And you feel enough. And you feel worthy. And so if you're a fan of Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks, she says this a lot: you get what you are, not what you want. So when we're in victimhood and we're the alcoholic, when we're anxious or in doubt or fear or imposter syndrome, all of that stuff, we get more of that, because that's what we're putting out there. That's what we're internally allowing for ourselves. So when you dissolve all of that and you find that you're living in a state of joy, of peace, of clarity, flow, happiness, you get more of that. You get what you are. And if you're happy, at peace, and you have clarity, peace of mind, you know who you are, you know where you're going, you get more of that. It's quite literally, that's what the law of attraction is. It's like Dispenza says, you have two pianos in the same room, you hit the middle C on one, the middle C on the other vibrates because it's the same frequency. That's exactly what the law of attraction is. It's happening whether you like it or not. That's why you're out and someone walks in the room and they've got charisma and everybody looks at them like, wow, who is that person? Because they are tuned in, they are turned on, they know who they are, and they give off this feeling of peace. And it's infectious and it's contagious both ways. So if someone walks in and they're super depressed and they've got a lot of, you look and you don't want to be near them. You don't want that energy, but everything is energy. It's not all this woo. Science has caught up and said, yes, the hippies were right, everything's energy. Sorry, we didn't realize for thousands of years, but yes, you're correct. Everything is quite literally energy in motion. This is where we can get excited. If you're waking up every day and you're not where you want to be, you're not clear on what you want, you're still repeating the same programs, or you know you're repeating programs but you don't quite know what they are. Here's one for you. I noticed that every single night I would lock the door, she'd check to see if I'd locked it, and then just before bed I would check again and she would check again. And I stopped and went, whoa, we're both locking the door and then checking to see if we'd locked it. We know we've locked it, but we're just doing it anyway. What's that about? And she went, oh my God. So we both decided that if the door's locked, not to look again, because essentially we're not trusting ourselves. I know that's a small example, but that reflects on a huge scale. If we're doing these subtle things, did I turn the oven off? I better go and check. You know you turn the oven off. You know you turn the bath off. You know you lock the door. But because you're not trusting yourself, you go back and check and go, oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I knew I did. We're doing things all the time and we have no idea. So if these are the small things, can you imagine what the big things are? You're not putting yourself out there. You're not going for it. You're not telling that person that you love them. You're not building that business. You're not leaving that job. You're not leaving that partner. I wanted to live abroad. I used to see people on Instagram living in the sunshine, drinking coconuts, walking on the beach. I'm from Northern England. And I was like, I need that life. So I did this audit and I was like, how do I get that life? I'm going to create a business. It's going to be online. And if it's online, that means I can work from anywhere. And I manifested from just an idea to living a life where I was not only earning good money, but helping lots of people and living anywhere I wanted in the world. And we've lived in Cape Town, Australia, Costa Rica, Thailand for months at a time. And this came from me going, fuck that, I'm not doing that anymore. I've got one life. No one's coming to help me. No one's going to give me a big bag of cash. I've got to do this. And the feeling I felt when I thought about this stuff was fear, anger that I didn't already do it, and sadness that I was not living the life that I wanted. So I did this audit. I listened to what I was saying, what I've been repeating for years. Oh, I can't do that because do. I once told someone, and they said, what do you want to do, sir? I said, I want to live abroad half the year and then in England. He went, yeah, good luck with that. That stuck in me, and I thought if he said that, then there's no way I can do that because he's like a proper person, and so obviously if he doesn't believe it, then why should I believe it? This is what I'm talking about. The people that live in the matrix, that play small, will say and do anything to keep you small if they suspect that you're one of those people that can break free. And if you are one of those people and you know it, you know I'm talking to you, guess what? You can, because I did, and I couldn't read or write at school. I struggled for half of my life, and I broke out, and I created something out of nothing, and I've had a 20-year relationship with my best friend. We've been married for like 11 years. I think I got that right. Hope she's not watching. And I create passive income. I woke up the other day with money in my account because people have looked in my bio and thought, yeah, this sounds great, and they've paid me while I was asleep. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to inspire you. If you know there's more for you, you've got to dial in and go for it, because no one's going to help you unless you come to me and I'll help you. So check out my bio, The Big Discovery. Super simple. You can do it on your own time. I've made it as easy as possible because that's how I like things. My one guarantee is that you will come away from this and you will be so grateful to yourself, and your future self will be so grateful for your present self. So I genuinely love you. I know we haven't met, but I'm feeling your presence. Thank you so much. Please share this live. It will mean the world to me if you do. Check out my bio, The Big Discovery. If this resonates with you, just go for it. You're literally like 2 clicks away from changing your life. So if you dive in, let me know, and you can also upgrade and work with me one-to-one. So when you've got all this data that you found, you can give it to me and I'll help you locate and process these feelings and unblock them and unlock them. And when you do, you feel lighter, you start to notice your external world changes. So if this resonates, dive in, check out the big discovery in my bio, enjoy, let me know if you do it so I can encourage you. Have the most wonderful day, have the most wonderful evening. We'll connect on the other side and it'll be one of the greatest things you ever did for yourself. All right, I love you.